afternoon to people that are hearing me from Africa, people that are in the afternoon, and good morning to people in diaspora, people that may be part of us from outside the country, and it can be also good evening to some other people at some other part of the world. I want to welcome you to this special edition of Microsoft Fabric. If you have been following trend about technological development with special regards to Microsoft products, you will see that last year during the Ignite, there was so much emphasis on a new product that is known as Microsoft Fabric. That does not mean Microsoft Fabric came to existence just during the Ignite. People have been using Fabric before then, but the larger audience, the need for people to make use of this new technology was at the center of discussion at the Ignite last year. And if you have also been following technological development in terms of data modernization, you will see that Microsoft Fabric is one of the recent technologies that has harnessed the use of one platform, a unified platform, to do so many things. If you have been part of history too, gone were the days when we were used to Excel, that we make use of Excel to do analytics, and after that, it was an era of Power Query. And during the Power Query, it was an add-on to Excel, where people can do a lot of transformation from the Excel point of view, until when we were moved to something that was also special, which was a Power BI. At the present time, you will see that a lot of people are more comfortable to also use Power BI at the moment. But let me shock you. Technology has gone beyond Power BI. Yes, go and check it out. Where people were struggling to understand Power Query, Microsoft brought about Power BI. When we were struggling to understand Power BI, Microsoft brought about Synapse Analytics, which is one of the products in Microsoft Azure. When we are also struggling to also understand Azure, Microsoft Azure in terms of Synapse Analytics, people, Microsoft also went ahead to also bring about this Microsoft Fabric. So it has been a sequence of events unfolding whereby recent technology has been brought about to bring about how best we can do our work as data professionals. So, uh, to some of us, I will not be surprised if this is the first time we are hearing about this product, Microsoft Fabric. Sorry, do we have an interactive chat that I can get feedback? Is that possible?
Yes, there is. So people will
Uh,
just chat and you can take a
okay,
look at it.
yeah, participants, let me have your feedback. If this is the first time you are hearing about Microsoft Fabrics or not, or if you have had an encounter with Fabric in the past or not. Yes, let me check your feedback. I like class being interactive. Okay, I can see Joel. I've had but not explored. That is fine. Any other feedback? Okay, Enoch. Enoch, your yes is not it's not I don't know where you belong by yes. Is it this first time you are hearing it, or you have heard of it? Just let us be aware of that. All right, so where feedbacks are coming in, uh let us proceed to what we have for today. So the idea is that each time Microsoft brought about a new technology, it does not negate what has been in existence, but it is a new way of doing things, right? It is a new way of doing things. And by the virtue of Microsoft Fabric, there has been an integration of all data professionals, which was also achieved during at the launch of Synapse Analytics. When Synapse Analytics was launched, it was made one of the services in Microsoft Azure. We thought, oh, that was the end of all that. Oh, all data professionals, we can now work together on a particular unified platform. Until when Microsoft surprised us that, look, that is not the end of it all, but there will be a time that a new product, which is Microsoft Fabric, will be launched. And today we are seeing Microsoft Fabric be made available. So now the idea is that this session that we are about to start, which is Microsoft Fabric, we have 13 episodes, and this is the just first of the 30 series. So it's a privilege for me to, introduce this particular product to you so that you can know what it is, how you can have access to it, how it can be of advantage. So for me, is to build a foundation around this Microsoft Fabric product, and thereafter we have some other speakers who will be speaking on different aspects of this particular technology. So this one, just take it, is more about introduction, whereby I will lay foundations about what you need to know, and thereafter people will be coming up to build on that foundation. So once again, I want to welcome you to Data Fluence 2.0. All right. Um, so a little bit about the speaker, who is my person. Popular is my surname. Isaac Olamileka is my name. I am information technology specialist with more than 10 years work experience. My area of focus in technology is on data platforms, which has to do with business intelligence and data analytics. I also engage in automation of business processes, where I help organizations on how they can automate their day-to-day operations at work. I also engage in designing and reviewing of exam questions, especially for Microsoft partner organizations across the world. And I also take part in review of Microsoft certification curriculums for some of the data related courses. I also do corporate IT technical training as a technical trainer. I also engage in tech-based community development, which is what brought me to this space today. At the tech-based community development, some of the things that we do is one, we make use of this environment, this community, to empower people who are struggling about how they can join the tech community, or who are in the tech community but they are also struggling to move up on their ladder of development. And we also make use of these tech communities in order to, maybe if there's a recent technology that has not been, widely widely being used in terms of knowledge, technical know-how. So we take advantage of tech-based communities to also leverage on one another, so that if there's any one of our colleagues that is having a challenge in solving a particular problem for a client, we will look at those problems together and be able to forge our edge. So I want to welcome you to this kind of community. For my certification, I have a master's degree in information production and management. I'm also Microsoft certified in area of data and cloud technologies. By cloud technologies, I mean uh, Microsoft Azure and Microsoft 365. Microsoft 365. I'm also Microsoft Certified Trainer, MCT. I'm also certified by International Computer Driving License as a global trainer. For my contact, yes, you have my email. This is for my email. This is for my email. I also have my contact for I also have my contact for LinkedIn account. If you are on LinkedIn, we can discuss. And I also have my link in terms of formerly Twitter, but not now X. And also you can also reach me on some of my productions on YouTube. All right. So this is the presentation outline. In the course of this training, we'll be looking at issues around, yes, fabric. We have heard of fabric now. What does it mean by addressing a product as Microsoft Fabric. We also look at key components of Microsoft Fabric. We look at issues around data teams and Microsoft Fabric, how to enable and use Microsoft Fabric. Then there will be a demo on exploring Microsoft Fabric interface. Then, if there are, yes, I'll be happy to, attend to questions and also provide answers. All right. Yeah, what is Microsoft Fabric? Microsoft Fabric is an end-to-end analytics platform that provides a single integrated environment for data professionals and the business to collaborate on data projects. If you see this definition, something that should strike your mind as a data person or data enthusiast is that what is the meaning of end to end? When something is end to end, I want to give you two important illustrations about an end to end. From an English perspective, when you're talking about end to end, it means that from the beginning to the middle and to the end, right? The first end is from the beginning, the last end is to the completion, right? But in terms of tech, in terms of data platform, we are talking about an end-to-end analytics, right? Is together. End to is a compound word. End-to-end analytics. We can refer to end-to-end analytics in data platform as, maybe for instance, I am a data analyst and I make use of Power BI to provide the analytic solutions. My end-to-end as a Power BI developer on data analyst on Power BI can be that, okay, I need to search for data from different sources. Then after sourcing for data, then I need to, you know, do data ingestion, that is bringing in data into Power BI desktop. Because when you're talking about Power BI desktop, it has three ecosystem. It has Power BI desktop, it has Power BI service, and Power BI mobile. Now, my end to end will start from what? Sourcing for my data, then bringing in data into Power BI desktop. Then in the Power BI desktop, I do a lot of work in terms of data cleaning, in terms of data cleaning, data modeling, data transformation, and after that, I make use of the available data to do data analysis. And after that, I now make use of different features to make my visualizations available. Then after I've made my visualization available, then I now prepare whether I'm preparing a report or I'm preparing a dashboard. And from that perspective, I now move it after I finish my work from the data, from the Power BI desktop. I can now publish it into Power BI service, which is the second level of ecosystem of Power BI. Then in the Power BI service, I can now make it available maybe to members of my organization, maybe to members of the general public, or whoever that can be my target audience in terms of consuming what I've produced from Power BI and environment. So thereafter, the end user can now make use of Power BI mobile, whether on the go or through their mobile devices or through their laptop on desktop. They can now see the final result of what I've generated. Now, as a data analyst, that is my end-to-end analytics platform. And that platform that I've made use of is what? Power BI is a Power BI environment. Another scenario of an end-to-end analytics can be a scenario of maybe I am a data engineer. And being a data engineer, my work starts from, okay, where are available data for me to work with. Then I do data ingestion. After I do data ingestion by bringing data into an analytic environment, maybe in this case, I want to make use of Azure. Maybe I want to make use of Synapse Analytics in Microsoft Azure. Now, I've done data ingestion. After the data ingestion, I can now do some transformation around it. Maybe I want to make use of some pipelines that to bring in my data, or I want to use copy, and some other commands to bring in data into the work environment. Then after that, I can now say, okay, transformation, cleaning, or I want to make use of another technology that is what we call ADF, Assured Data Factory, to do a lot of transformation. And after that, I now make data available, and now thereafter I push data, you know, to some other people that can work on that data, maybe data scientists or maybe data analysts or whatever level of professional the person is working on. So my own is just to make data available and being ready for analysis on some other operations as data engineer. So those are the kind of end-to-end analytics, right? But in terms of Microsoft Fabric to be an end-to-end analytics, it means that it has provided an integration environment where different data professionals can work together. That what I've said the other time is a scenario of a data analyst and a scenario of a data engineer. But Fabric has brought about a unified platform that, look, I don't need to use Power BI as a standalone software. We can just make use of Power BI in the cloud in terms of Fabrics. Then data engineer can continue that. Immediately I do my work as data engineer, or immediately we start from the point of view of database administrator, that the data is now being made available, that it is now being pushed to data engineer to do his own work. Then from data engineer maybe to data analyst for some kind of visualization. So Fabric has now provided a unified platform where all these data professionals can work together instead of working on individual level, right? Instead of working on individual level. So this has helped us as data professionals um, in sharing our workload in terms of data asset, and this has also helped us in reducing the cost of operations. Imagine if I have to buy Power BI, I have to do subscription for Power BI service. Then somebody else has to do a subscription for Azure, which is for Azure Synapse Analytics for data engineering. Somebody else has to do machine learning. Maybe a data scientist in our team has also made payment for that kind of service again. So now instead of now doing independent work, we now have a solution. Microsoft has now made available a solution that now provides a platform for integration of work environments for all that data professionals. So this is about the first point about Microsoft Fabrics. Then secondly, Microsoft Fabrics provides a set of integrated services that enable you to ingest, store, process, and analyze data in a single environment. I've mentioned something around that, which has to do with what um, you know everything that you can do on a data from beginning to the end. That is what is being referred to as end-to-end analytics. We can now have access to do it on a single platform. All right. So, what are the key components of Microsoft Fabric? Uh, some the key components they used to be six in the past until recently when one was added to them, which has to be data activator. Um, then we can now see that from these components of Microsoft Fabrics, we have what we call data factory, which we use for what? Data integration. We have Synapse, which we use for data engineering. We also make use of Synapse for data warehousing. We also make use of Synapse for data science. We also make use of Synapse for real-time analytics. Real-time analytics is the trend of the world now in terms of data analytics in the world, because the volume of data that are being generated per seconds, per minute, per hour, they are in real time, and people want to say analytics in real time, and that is why the world is moving towards real-time analytics, and Synapse as being a platform where we can achieve real-time analytics. So after this, we also have what we call Power BI, which we use for business intelligence, and until recently when we have a data activator, which help us in terms of observing our different data, especially the data that have to do with what? Real-time analytics. Real-time analytics. So that activator has to do with what? Observing our data and how we can work around it. So all these components, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all of them, they are now being seated on an underpinned technology that is known as what? One Lake. That's known as what? As One Lake. So One Lake has been the unifying platform for all this technology to work together inside what? Inside Microsoft Fabric. Let us proceed. All right. So basically, the operations that we do in Synapse and that we do in the Microsoft Fabric can be classified into two. We have what we call analysis and action. Analysis and action. Analysis has to do with what? Maybe you want to do real-time analytics, or want to check for business intelligence, that is, want to get some insight from available data, or want to check observing our data, so making use of data activator. So we'll make use of those three technologies for analysis and action, because immediately you do analysis and you get your result in terms of analysis, in terms of your output, then you cannot take action, whether you are talking about foresight, or you are talking about what has happened in the past. So that's about first type of the what we use this for. Another thing, we also make use of this classification of components is what we call uh, data data movement and transformation. We also do data movement and transformation, which is one of the greatest advantages of Synapse Analytics and Azure Data. For your information, Azure Data Factory can be a standalone technology. In fact, it used to be a standalone technology until when technological development came on board, and Microsoft integrated it into what? Into Power BI, into Azure, Microsoft Azure. So, and recently we also have what we call Synapse Analytics, which we use for data engineering and data warehousing, which are the core operations data warehouse, which is one of the core operations of a database administrator, DBA, right? So all these operations in terms of data movement and data transformation, we are using all these three technologies to achieve that. And we are talking about insight and pattern. Data science. Data science will look at what has happened in the past and make a forecast that, oh, if this can happen last year, this can happen 2 years ago, this can happen 3, 4 years with the same pattern, then there's likelihood this will happen in this particular time of the year. For instance, NIMET. We all know NIMET, NIMET, Nigeria Meteorological Agency. They do forecast for us that, oh, it's likely there will be sunny today. It's likely there will be rainfall today at this particular point in time. They depend their recommendations. Their recommendations are dependent on the available data that they have studied over the time, right? All right. So when you're talking about data teams and Microsoft Fabric, now for data team and data team has to be with what? What can be different teams that we can have within a data feed, or when we have a database project, a data solution based project, what could be the different teams that we can have? We can have in our team, we can have data engineers that make use of all these technologies. We can have data scientists in our team that can make use of data science and machine learning, Azure ML, Azure machine learning language. We can also have data analysts that can make use of data warehouse. Data warehouse is where our data is being domiciled, especially when we are talking about large scale enterprise, large scale, when we have data that is of large scale enterprise, right? So data analysts also make use of real-time analytics and Power BI to do their work. And also we have what we call decision makers. We have decision makers. Decision makers has to do with what? The end users, right? All these are data professionals, but we have the end user who can be maybe manager in an organization, or in case of NIMET, when NIMET make their projections and predictions available to the general public, and we make use of that predictions for our dealers in terms of taking decisions. Oh, like for instance, oh, Bukola, tomorrow it will be raining around this time along this location, and if I want to go out, I cannot prepare for, oh, instead of wearing maybe short knicker and t-shirt, it will be more preferable for me to wear maybe jeans, or I should wear a suit which can give me some protection in terms of being exposed to the harsh weather condition. So those are decision makers who make use of different platforms to also see the end result of our data. So all these data professionals, they also make use of a technology that we call data steward. Data steward is like, if you are aware of Microsoft Purview, if you are aware of Microsoft Purview, so data steward is like a Microsoft Purview, which can help us in terms of governance issues around data governance, data. We have data governance. We have data security, and some other things that have to do with compliance, compliance. So Microsoft Fabric unified management and governance make it easier for data professionals to work together on data projects. All right, so now the next thing is that, after we have seen all these different components that we have and how we can take advantage of them, somebody might be interested, oh, how do we now get access? How do we now get access to use Microsoft Fabrics? Now, Microsoft Fabric is a cloud-based solution. It is not an executable file. It is a cloud-based solution which we can have access to through this web address. Let me quickly take that: https colon double forward slash app dot fabric dot microsoft.com, right? https colon double forward slash app fabric.microsoft.com. Maybe my moderators will help me to type this on the chat so that I can concentrate on this. So this is the platform. Because it's a cloud-based solution, it is not an executable file or a standalone solution. No, it is an online platform. So you have to get access to it in the cloud. So now, before, we used to have another link that has to do with Power BI, which is https double forward slash app dot power BI dot microsoft.com. So we used to have that in the past, but with the advent of Microsoft Fabric, so if you enter this, it will redirect you to the Fabrics, because that is the recent technology. So Power BI has been moved to the Power BI has been moved to Microsoft Fabric. So that is the import of that statement. All right, let me quickly get my eraser. Oh, sorry. Um, where's my eraser? All right. All right. So now for you to make use of this platform, you have to make use of the link that I've told us about, and you have to activate. You have to, we call it enable or activate. You have to activate it. If you don't activate it, you will not be able to have access to it. So, and how do you activate it? Uh, you know, I did mention that what we used to have as Power BI platform before is now being integrated into Fabrics. It's now being integrated into Fabric. So we now have to go through the Fabric admin. So from the Fabric admin, then we can now gets to know that, okay, from the admin, we now go to different settings and for us to now have access. So as at now, you can have access to it through the Fabric admin, formerly known as Power BI admin. You can also have access to it through the Power Platform, and you can also have access to it through the what? Through the Microsoft 365. So please be mindful. You have to be, or you have to have admin role. You have to have an admin role for you to have access to this. If you are not an admin, you may need to talk to members of your organization or whoever that give you the access to any one of these three platforms. One, two, three. So for them to now, make this platform available for you. So the day after, you need to have what we call a workspace. A workspace is where you carry out some kind of operations. I can have a lot of solutions to provide, but I can create a workspace for any one of those solutions for me to, be able to track what I've done and what is needed to be done. So I did mention that it is a subscription base. It is not free. It is a subscription base, and if you have a kind of license, you have to know how many licenses are you having for your organizations. Are you having 10 licenses for 10 users, or you are having 20 licenses for 20 users as your capacity required? But Microsoft, when a new technology is being introduced, they also make sure that people get a feeling of how that technology is being used and how it can be of advantage to the general public. So you can also have access to through the trial fashion, so which has an expiration period of 2 months, 60 days. So if you don't have subscription, which has license capacity for number of users, then you can have what we call trial fashion for 60 days, right? And when you log into the platform, you can now see all these technologies that we are talking about. All right, so for me, I want to be sure that we also have a feeling about how that interface look like, so that we can now do an exploration of Fabric interface. Do we have any question before we go to this demo, or I should just go ahead? If you can speak up or you write on the chat.
There is a question. Hello, Miss. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, there is a question on the chat.
Okay.
Somebody is asking that the Microsoft Power BI subscription was renamed to Microsoft Fabric on Admin Center. Does it mean that it has all these services?
Yes is the answer. So formerly Power BI that we used to have has now been renamed as Fabrics. So, and that is why if you log into a former Power BI platform that I quoted the web address, if you log into that platform, it will move you to the Fabric environment. It will move you to Fabric environment. All right. Is there anyone
Okay,
that's
we have someone is raising his hand. Can we have you, please? I don't know your
okay? You
name.
can speak up.
Please
Yeah.
unmute your mic and speak.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Frank.
Sorry, before you speak, please, before I forget, Mr. Rashid, this link you have shared, let me quickly correct that. HTTPS colon app dot fabric dot microsoft dot com. Yeah, this should work. This should work. All right. Yes, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you
Yeah.
for the training so far.
Yeah.
My question is related to the first question, still on the Power BI login, using the becoming Fabrics now. You made mention of you must have an admin account.
Yeah.
Does that mean tenants cannot work on the platform?
Yeah.
Tenant accounts.
Is it tenant account as an administrative user role?
Okay.
It has an administrative user role, and For instance, now, if we go for a subscription in my organization,
Okay.
and I have not been allowed to make use of some licenses, so I cannot have access to those applications. For instance, now in my organization, if I'm not allowed to make use of an exchange in Office 365,
Okay.
I can't use it. So likewise, all these are packages that you need to be authorized by your admin
Okay.
from your tenant. You
So
need to be authorized. So if you're an admin, of course you have your tenant. You can just being an admin, you have automatic access to use all those applications. But if you are not, your admin has to assign that license to you.
my question is still on it. Let's say we have E5 licenses,
Yeah.
and we know we have a global admin that manages the entire account. Does that
Yeah.
mean other E5 license that are tenants cannot work on it?
No, the idea is that you know fabrics, or let me come from the perspective of Power BI that we are used to, right? From Power BI is a service, right, that has to be activated, maybe by global admin, right?
Yes.
I have worked with a company before, and the only thing the only access they gave me was just to send mail to them, and all other services that are available I was denied, because the Popular, our contract is for you to get us result and send us send us mail about what we have done. So the answer is still the same, that when we have tenants is just like an organization that is buying a space within a public cloud, right? That's a tenant. So but in your
Yes.
tenant, you still have to have your subscription on your tenant, and your subscription has to
Yes.
do with what with your subscription, what can you access with your subscription?
Okay, what
Can
is
you
being provisioned for that
what is
subscription?
exactly, maybe you are going for standard
Okay,
now,
I get it.
or you are going for
Okay.
business class. So in business class, you may not have some services available, right? Whereby in the
Okay.
basic,
Okay.
you can have some access to maybe Microsoft enterprise applications like Office 365, as the case may be. So it depends on
Okay.
what your license has covered, your subscription has covered, and if you have now been issued an access permit to now make use of this technology.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you
thank
very
you.
much.
Yes, I can see boss Victor Bassi. He has a question. Does it mean one can no longer access Power BI freely again? Yes, the answer is yes. From the beginning, maybe you are not part of us from the beginning. Microsoft has moved ahead, leaving some people behind. Mr. Rashid, when you conducted a survey about what people want to learn from this series, these are data frames too. Majority of the respondents said they want to learn about Power BI. So, but reality is that Microsoft has left Power BI behind. So Microsoft is now talking about Microsoft Fabrics, because it has been a unified platform for all data professionals. So, Mr. Bassi, the idea is that Microsoft has moved Power BI in the cloud, which we know as Power BI service, to what we now have as Fabrics. Yes, Emmanuel Toji, you said, can you also have access to Fabric with Power BI developer subscription? I've not tried it. But with Power BI developer subscription, I think you should be able to have access to it. But I've not checked it. All right. So if there are no other questions, just let us move to a demo. Just a minute. I will need to share my browser. Just a minute, please. We need to share my browser. Just a minute, please. All right. Let me now share my browser. Yes, Olalekan posted a link to M365 dev plant. Yes, from M365 you can have access to Microsoft Fabrics. All right, let me share my my screen. Sorry, my browser. Please confirm you can see my browser.
I can see your browser, sir.
Yes,
Okay. Okay, thank you. So I did mention that for you to have access to the Microsoft Fabrics, you have to use the link, which is https:// app.fabric.microsoft, because I've used it before. That is why the IntelliSense is coming up. That Opopola, this is what you are trying to achieve. So immediately I get this correct, I click on enter.
John Adebayo is raising up his hand, sir.
We'll come back. Let us follow this trend. So please, if you can see, this is the developer. I want to use my developer account, right, to access this platform. I have this my password. Just a minute. Let me check my password. Just a minute.
You need to unshare.
Eh?
You may need to unshare your you may need to unshare your screen so that you can fix your passwords.
No, there's no need. It will be, the password will be covered. Just a minute.
Okay.
I think I've seen that. This should work. Perfect. So this works, and I have 2-level authentication. So I have to accept it from my 29. Yes. Approve. So I have to. I'm using Microsoft Authenticator app as a 2nd-level authentication. So yes, I've approved that. It should launch me in. You can look up that it is the same appfabrics.microsoft.com that we have used to enter here. Now, let us make use of Power BI, the Power BI that we used to have in the olden days. App. Okay, can you see the Power BI? This is Power BI, right? That's app.powerbi.com. If I click on enter, it will take me to Fabrics. Can you see immediately? Immediately it's taking me to Fabrics. Can somebody observe that?
Very well,
Yes,
very
I
well,
can.
yes.
Yes,
So
I
it is
can.
taking me to Fabrics immediately because almost everything is now being done at Fabric Left. Now, this is the interface of the Fabric, and these are different components that I've mentioned earlier. That, oh, I want to do Power BI. This is where you move to Power BI. I'm a data engineer. I want to make use of Data Factory. Or I want to do monitoring of my data so that I can get alerts, automated actions, or I want to make use of data engineering, or I want to do Synapse data science, or I want to do Synapse data warehouse, which is being used by database administrator, or I want to do real-time analytics, which is the order of the day. So anyone that I'm of interest, I have to come here to use them. But if you are a first timer, you may not be able, if I click on Power BI, it should give me access to Power BI directly. Do you see that? But if you are a first timer, it may not give you access. Not even it will not give you access. If you are a first timer, you have to activate. That's where on the slide I was mentioning about how do you enable and use Microsoft Fabric. So you have to come to the setting. You have to come to the setting. You can see I'm using trial version, which is left of 50 days out of 60 days. Can you see that? So this is can you see from here? This is Fabrics. I've used Fabrics to enter Power BI, and this is Power BI itself. Can you see the same? It's the same interface. The same interface. Nothing has changed, but they have moved everything to a single platform, which is now Fabric. You know, I use Power BI link to enter here, and I use Fabric link to enter here, and everything has joined together, right? So now, if you're a first timer, I did mention that you will not be able to use any of these services until when you activate it, or you enable it. And how do you enable it? You come to settings, and from the setting, you come to let me check here. So here is about informations that are of importance, that okay, if I'm using trial fashion or trial lenses, if I want to buy maybe for my organization, this is information about how to buy a new one. Or if I want to buy if I want to go for premium, this is where I have access to information about how to go for premium, as the case may be. But they are not our interest, since we can have access to all those free fashion from here, right? So if I go to settings, I go to Power BI settings, and then from Power BI settings, I can now see some settings that can be configured. Some settings that can be configured. Let me look at the general. From the general, I can look at item settings or notification settings. Or let me check here. Send me an email, this and that. Or let me go to no, not here. So I'm already in the Fabrics environment. Let me go back. Sorry, I'm already in the Power BI environment. Let me go back to the main menu. Which is the home. Let me go to the home. From home, I have to go to settings. Okay, sorry, admin. I go to admin portal. All right, from the admin portal, I now come to I come to tenant. Can you see it? I come to tenant, and from the tenant, and this is what I was saying the other time. If I'm not an admin, I will not have access to this admin portal, where I can authorize anybody to make use of this service. Are you getting it? Are you getting it? So if I'm not an admin, maybe global admin, I will not have access to this back end, because this is the back end portal that can now allow me to allow somebody else maybe to make use of this or not. All right, so you can now see that from the admin center, we have further information about what is now obtainable. From here, I can activate my Fabric. Are we together? I can enable my Fabric. As at now, it is enabled. If I want to disable it, I just click on this and it will be disabled. So likewise, some other services that I may wish to use. Maybe I want to use data activator. I did mention that data activator is one of the recent technology, and if I want to allow myself on somebody else, this is where it will be activated. This is where it will have been activated. And if I want to do, I want to create a fabric item, this is where it will also be activated. So all these has to be, all these settings have to be done properly in order for the fabrics environment to work as expected. So that's about that. So this is from admin. Please be mindful again, you have to go to settings, and from settings you go to admin portal. If you are not a global administrator or you have not been issued the license, you may not have access to that back end. So that is that about how to activate the Microsoft Fabric. So another thing is that when you look at the interface, we have some items here that we can also talk about. If you can see from their name, if you want to do any work, it is better you create a workspace. It is better you create a workspace. There used to be a default workspace. If I click on workspace, there used to be a default workspace. So my workspace is the default, that any work that I'm doing on this platform, it is coming to my workspace. But if I want to do something new, you can see this learning demo. I created it recently when I wanted to do some demo on our fabrics. For instance, now if I want to do, if I want to create another workspace now, we can call it, this is data fluence. This is data fluence 2. Now I now call this demo. I now call it data fluence 2 demo. If I have anything to write, I write something here. If I have any picture to upload, I upload picture. But for me, I'm not interested. So what is important, that is compulsory, is this the name of the workspace. I click on this. So do you have you have unapplied changes? Do you want to do, what do you want to do? Discard all. Discard all. So now I've created a new workspace. So for you to know on which on which workspace are you working on, you have to check under, this is workspace, for the list of the workspace, but the one you are working on is the one that is showing below your workspace, right? This is what is showing below your workspace. So if I have something to do new, or I have something I want to bring aboard, so I can start from here. Or I have something to upload, or if it's something that I want to create an app, I want to manage access, or I want to do workspace settings, this is where I do all those things. So let me see one of my, the one I did demo last time. All right. So this last time I did demo, it was December 5, where I created a pipeline. I created a pipeline, which is part of what? Part of the data engineer. Data engineer. You can create a pipeline from data engineer option, right? You can create from data engineer option, and I can also create a lakehouse. A lakehouse, which is like our platform for managing our data assets on this platform. So you go to browse. If you go to browse give you the list of the work that I have done, maybe recently or at some other point in time. If you click on favorites is some of the things that maybe I'm doing a work at the moment and I want to get access to it as quickly as possible. I can just do a favorite from recent. Maybe I can make any one of them favorite. If I want to make this one favorite, I just click here as favorite, and when I go to favorite, I can see that this one is favorite, is one of the work I'm doing at the moment, or I want to have access to as soon as possible. So for share with me, maybe there's work that is a colleague. This is what we are saying about integration of platform for different data professionals. So I can go to share with me, maybe a colleague who happens to be a data engineer has done some work and he wants me to see what he has done, or I've finished a report. I want a member of my team to look at what I have done, so I can come to share with me. So one leg up, One Lake Data Hub. This One Lake Data Hub is not part of what we have today. It is one of the sessions that will be taken in more detail. Can you remember I mentioned that One Lake Hub is the center of operation for all the services that are available in the what in the Microsoft Fabric. Okay, so this is just the interfaces that we have for what? For Power BI. So if I want to go to any other component, I have to click from here. I use it from here. I'm on Microsoft Power BI. If I want to go to any other component of the fabric, I can just come to Data Factory if that is my interest, or I can come to Data Activator if that is my interest. For Synapse Analytics, we can use it for data engineering, we can use it for data science, we can use it for data warehouse, and we can use it for real-time analytics. So if there's any need for me to create anyone, just let me okay, right click does not work. Right click does not work. You have to select the interface you want to work with. So this is where we have Data Factory. Like I did mention, Data Factory, we make use of Data Factory to do what we call to create data flow. Now, data flow is what we now know. Data flow used to be our Power Query. No, the interface of Data Flow Gen 2 is like our Power Query. So as at now, we don't have Power Query any longer in our what? Maybe in our Power BI. We don't have Data Query again, but what we have now is what we call Data Flow. So for our Data Factory, Data Factory is more about what? Ingestion, to bring in data from different sources. We make use of Data Factory to bring in data from different sources. So if you want to do data flow, but we want to make use of Power Query rather, which is now being renamed as Data Flow in Fabrics. I just click on Data Flow Gen 2, and it is loading. From there, it will ask me the data I want to bring in. Where is it available? Where am I bringing it in? Where am I bringing it in? It's still loading. Can you see immediately? It is now what we used to have as Power Query. And this is the interface of Power Query. Whether you use Power Query in Excel or use Power Query in the Power BI. So this is the interface of Power Query, which has now been, I did mention that we make use of Data Factory for what? Data ingestion, which you can also make use for data transformation and data cleaning. So after you have, taking your data, maybe you are importing your data from Excel, or you are importing your data from SQL Server on any other platform, you can now do your transformation. And after your transformation, you can now save, and it will be part of what you have available. So maybe you want to use maybe data real-time analytics on data engineering. If you want to use sign up for data engineering, you just come here. Since I'm not using this again, I'm closing it. I'm changing my directory to data engineering. Please close the data flow. Okay, yes, I have to close the data flow because it is waiting for operation, which I'm not ready to do. Are you sure you want to exit? Yes, I want to exit. So, and if it is my interest to go to maybe data engineering to see how the face look like. Okay, so in data engineering, we do a lot of work. That in the data engineering, that is where we have our lake house. This is where we can create our lake house. We can make use of notebook. We can make use of Spark job. We can make use of data pipeline, import notebook, and this is a kind of sample that we can play around with. Let me also look at data science, which is being used for machine learning, building machine learning models. conduct environment, conduct experiments, and some other things that we can work with. So let us check the interface of data warehouse. Data warehouse, I did mention, is being used by database administrator, where they can do a lot of work about the database they are working with. If you have sample warehouse, we can connect with these two platforms, the data pipeline and data flow gen 2. They are for data ingestion and transformation. So if we have something we want to create, we have to mention it, say maybe demo1 warehouse, and click on create. And from there, we can now come up with any other thing that I want to work with. So maybe I've created this platform. I want to bring in data. I can bring in data from here into this data warehouse. So the data warehouse is loading. If I want to bring in data, can you see some of the content of our database that has to do with schemas, securities, my queries, here queries. So if I want to bring data, I just get data from here. Do I want to get data from data flow gen 2, or I want to use ADF, which is Azure Data Factory, in terms of data pipeline to have this. So then new query, maybe from if I now have available, so I'm getting a sample warehouse for us to look at how it look like, and from there we can now run some queries. So if I want to run a new query, I can just come to a new query, new SQL query. I can run a new SQL query if I have anything to work with. So I can now run a query, but as at now, I'm not sure the data has been created. So can you see my data now? Demo1 warehouse. I just requested for data to be created, and it has created the data for me. And these are some of the properties of the data that I have, which we call objects. We call it SQL objects. So these are the things that we have. So if I want to check, these are the tables that I have. Maybe I want to check, let me check a particular table, geography table. These are different headers that we have under geography table. These are different headers. Maybe I just want to show some content under here. I can just come here and do, maybe I want to create a new command. These are commands. I want to create a new command. I just want to show top 100. So I just want to show top 100. So the syntax has been written, and the answer has been populated. Can you see that? So this is just a sample data warehouse. If I have my own data warehouse somewhere, I just have to come to get data. Then do I want to bring in through the data flow, or I want to create a new pipeline for me to bring it in? So as the case may be, is the way it will appear. Or from here now, I can see what we just generated is, if I want to see how many numbers of rows do we have? This is SQL query 1. I can go to SQL query 2. Oh, we are on SQL query 2. Let me go to the first one. I can come here and say, okay, maybe I want to see select. Maybe I want to count. I want to maybe the number of columns that the number of rows that we have in the data set. There, I don't need this. So I now click on run. I want to see the total number. What I just from here, from the second query, it just gave us the top 100. From here, I want to see how many rows do we have. I just click on run. It should give us answer that, from this data set, we have 305,179. Can you imagine that? So from the sample data set that we are working with, we have 305,179. but from here, we just generated the top 100. So I don't want to dabble too much into some of the things that we also get to know later. I'm just giving, for me, it's just to be to build your appetite for you to get set for the next 13 episodes under this particular learning journey. So this real-time analytics. Let us check this real-time analytics. There's what we call event stream. We use event stream for what? For real-time analytics. And if you are very familiar with Azure platform, or you are very familiar with Azure, with a data platform on Azure, there used to be what we call Azure Stream, Azure Event Stream, Azure Event Stream. So the way we have it on Azure Event Stream is also the way we have it under real-time analytics. And here, it makes use of a KQL query language. This is not SQL. This is not SQL. In the what do we call it? In the data warehouse, we make use of SQL query language, but in the real-time analytics, we make use of, because real-time analytics, it used to be used for big data, especially data that are coming in frequently, read data. So it makes use of KQL. KQL means a coastal query language, which is being used for big data. And we are talking about the big data. We are talking about data that are running into millions, thousands, we are talking about data that is running into millions, billions of rows, millions, billions, or whatever number that you can remember for a number of rows that are coming in. So and in most cases, we use this type of technology for IoT, Internet of technology, so that we can capture as they are, as they are coming in. Well, I've done more than enough. I'm very sure that subsequently, my other colleagues will be digging deep more into each one of these technology. Maybe the next person will be taking Power BI. Maybe another person will be taking Data Factory, Data Activator, and go deeper into how we use each one of them. So I want to thank you so much for your time, and I want to thank you so much for being part of this history that we are making today by starting this particular series. Thank you so much. If you still have any questions, yes, I can still get some more questions. Mr. Ahmed said, yes, it is clear and loud. Thank you. That was my first then. Madam Gloria.
Good afternoon.
You are cited. Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the training. It has been so impactful.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a question relating to the data warehouse.
Okay.
Currently, I manage the data warehouse in my organization, and it's on-prem. Okay. What's the best way to have a handshake with this on the cloud? And again, from the demo I saw, there is no data normalization, getting the dimension and fact tables. How do we do it on Fabric? And how do we how do we create pipelines that will automate, that will update the data warehouse from the primary database? Yes.
Okay. What's the name? What is the name?
My name is Frank. Frank.
Okay, Mr. Frank, thank you so much.
Yes.
I have answers to all your questions, but if I go more deeper, I will dabble into subsequent editions of this series. But what I will say is that if you have experience working on Power BI before, if you want to do what we call data modeling, it is part of the data modeling that we talk about fact table and dimension table. If you have used Power BI before, you should be able to model your data making use of Power Query. You should be able to make use of your Power Query where you have copies of your original data set, and you now select them as regards to what you want. So it is something that I can provide answer to, but maybe it's something we can do behind the screen, behind the screen, because it's beyond the scope of this class.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. I'm sure subsequently we'll cover all the possible areas that we can look at. So Destiny asks, can we get the recording? I'm sure at the back end, this is being recorded, and I'm sure people should be able to have access to it. Mr. Rashid, am I correct that participants are getting access to the recorded version? Oh, Mr. Rashid is having issue with network.
The recordings will be provided on the charts, please.
Okay, that is fine. Then Mr. Joel, thank you for the feedback. So yes, Mr. Ibrahim, I can see your hands up.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, you talked about the real-time analysis of you called it KQL, something like that. Yes, I want to know if we're going to learn stuff like the language itself, the KQL language.
The reality is this. The common language for all data professionals is SQL, right? SQL is the common language for all data professionals. You can see from the demo that I did with a data warehouse, you can see that it was a structured query language that came up for me to work with. So I can't say because I'm a data professional, I'm a data engineer, or I'm a data scientist, I don't know how to use SQL. No, I can tell you, if I want to take a SQL class, being the foundation for all data platform, the minimum day I used to take it is 4 days. 4 days. And by these 4 days, I mean 8 hours per day. That is for you to understand SQL. So I will not promise you that we are going deeper into the SQL, because SQL on its own is a subject matter. Do you get it, Ibrahim? Understanding SQL is a subject matter on its own, which require some amount of time to understand. All right. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Can we have last question? Any other one?
Yeah, hi, Mr. Paula. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I cannot see your name.
Okay, my name is Destiny.
Destiny, you are welcome. I also want to enjoy good destiny, right?
Sure. You're going to enjoy it.
Thank you.
By God's grace. My question is, I'm new to I'm still learning Power BI. So
okay.
At the moment, I'm also exploring fabrics, because I see that that's the trend right now, and that's probably the future. So I don't know advice for like someone who is new to Power BI, the Power BI desktop interface and all of that. So what's your advice? Do you think I should just leave Fabric for now and just focus on learning Power BI?
You know, when you start from the behind, there are some things that you understand before you move to the advanced. You understand?
Yeah.
When you start from behind, you will have taken some time to understand something. Oh, this is why I can relate with Fabric. Nobody has taught me about Fabric, because I can relate with it, how it has happened in the past, which was from perspective of understanding Power BI. So for me, I will advise, if you have time to, to spare, you can also look at, in Power BI, what do they do? If you understand that, then in Azure, maybe Synapse Analytics. What do they do? So all those knowledge will now come together and serve you better when you're making use of Power Fabrics. But if you don't have time for that, of course, you can also concentrate on this. The advantage, from the beginning, I gave a rundown of how data modernization evolved over time. That I said, gone were the days when we were using Excel, right? From Excel, Microsoft now move us to Power Query. From Power Query, they now move us to what? They now move us to Power BI. From Power BI, they now move us to Synapse Analytics. From Synapse Analytics, where some people are still struggling to understand that, they now move us to what we know now as a Microsoft Fabric. So technology is not stable, it is evolving. And if you are not ready, technology is leaving you behind. So if you have time, check what has happened in the past and then move ahead with the recent technology. You should be fine. But if you don't have time, just concentrate on this and you should be fine too.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so that's is the last question that I requested for, and I've gotten that feedback. On behalf of the it's not my job. It's not my job.
Okay.
So, Mr.
Can anyone hear? Can anyone hear me?
We can hear you on your screen.
Oh.
Thank you for the feedbacks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thank you for this section. And so, for the last question, the person that has the last, let me add to what Mr. Kola has mentioned. So, when you look at this response now, because we send out a survey we need our attendees the best, and so we feel out of the survey, we discovered that a whole lot of us on this platform now are still lacking behind in the area of Power BI usage. So, next month, by the grace of God, for the whole of next month, because this series that we have are supposed to be every 2 weeks, but because of popular demand and because we need to really dig deep next month for them to really come and to do a kind of a recap, because there is no way we can finish the whole of your colleague tell a whole lot of people are lacking behind in Power BI, followed by data science. Then we'll move to data factory. So the sequence based on what people requested for. Do I Hello, am I audible? Hello.
Is it your mic or your network is breaking?
Can anyone hear me now?
It's better now.
It's better now. I can hear you.
No, it's not.
I can't hear you anymore.
Hello, can anyone hear me?
Your network is breaking.
I can hear you.
Hello, can anyone hear me? Let me change my position. Can anyone hear me now?
I can hear.
We can hear you now.
Okay, so what I'm saying is let's stay tuned. I just want us to take advantage of all that we have learned today. Let us not just leave it to what the speaker has done. It can only scratch the surface. This is a journey. It's going to be a 13 weeks series, and again, we had it all with a boot camp, and details of the boot camp we announce to us later. But this recording will be available, and the only way we can, scales together is when the recording is being dropped on the platform, let us ensure that we listen to it over and over again. So next week, it will be an amazing time with Gloria Ebekwama will be taking us through data cleaning, data gathering by next week. You know, we are trying to start from the basics. Then the following week will be about data modeling and DAX. The third will be visualization, and the fourth will be Power BI service. So be ready. Make sure that your system is working, because some of these things, they will be on a practical basis. You will need to, practicalize what you're being taught. By that, then you can be able to apply whatever is being taught. Then you will be able, if there is any question, you have any issue, you can ask, and before you know it, you are there. So thank you very much.
You go and do what you're doing. Go and do what. If you still like the screen down, if all your phone is very fresh, just remove the screen down.
Can we please mute our mic, please? Thank you. So we're just 55 on this call. So tell everyone around you, we still have a very long way to go, and we have a lot to uncover so that they are not left behind. The beautiful thing about this kind of series is that when you come and you attend and you look at it very well, you don't need to, be asking that same question. Probably now we have looked at introduction to Fabric this today now. If someone did not come and you come next week, you might need to be, they might be dragging us back. So please tell everyone around you. And so same time next week from 2 to 4. I will be waiting for you in class. Be our guest. Thank you so much for everybody that has joined. See you same time next week. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Our Oga Pupola, bye. Oga Rashid.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Ned.